What's going on, everyone? MikeO back with another Mail Day recap. Got a nice selection of stuff to share with you. Couple 100-year-old pre-war cards, couple vintage pickups, and a couple modern pickups. So, nice variety, something that baseball card collectors and fans of baseball cards should be able to enjoy, no matter who the players or who the teams are. Super excited for the potential return of baseball. We're less than 10 days away. Should be exciting and thrilling, but we'll see. Definitely taking it day by day, because in this current climate, anything can change any day. But definitely holding out hope, cautiously optimistic that we'll get something that I've been kind of counting down and dreaming for since, mid-March. Just as we drew closer to April, was getting excited for baseball season, and of course, the rug was pulled out from under us. Before I get started with the cards, I do want to give a shout out to Andy. She blinded me with refractors. He was kind enough to join me this weekend for an episode of Hobby Talk. So that's up, that's live, available to listen to. I'll post a link to that down below. I definitely recommend you check out Andy's channel. He's a great member of the community, awesome guy, and we had a fantastic conversation. So super excited for you to get a chance to listen to that and for you to check out these cards I picked up. So let's get into it. I did pick up a Bryce Harper Pop of Vinyl figure, so a pretty cool addition to the Phillies collection. I grew up on starting lineup, so some of the different figure releases, the wide releases that are quite affordable, such as a Pop Vinyl, which is about $10 or so, definitely appeals to me. I'd like to pick them up. So they did make Aaron Nola last year. They made Bryce Harper this year. They have a pretty decent selection of some of the game's biggest stars, so happy to pick that up. And then you can see to the right, was able to pick up a 2019 Topps Chrome Sapphire Austin Riley rookie card. It is in an SGC holder. It was graded at 10 pristine, so to me, this was just a value pickup. I'm a big fan of Sapphire. I think it's a beautiful looking product. It's gotten quite expensive. It's kind of unbreakable at the current market price on sealed wax, and some of the singles of the big stars are just kind of crazy right now, and especially the rookie cards. But was able to pick up this Austin Riley at a really good price. I mean, he's certainly not considered one of the top rookies. He's one of the middle tier guys, but this is a card, when I come across the Sapphires, I will occasionally add them to the watch later list, and this one I just noticed, half hour left, and I was like, that's very, very cheap. I won it last minute for about $60 or so, which is less than what they go for raw. Raw typically, at least when I was looking them up, was $70, $80, sometimes $90. So to me, it was a no-brainer. The gold pristine SGC grades, they're definitely rising for the more popular cards. Like, they will outsell a PSA 10, but some of the cards that aren't necessarily being sought out by tons and tons of collectors or flippers, and they're a little fewer and far between, you can get some incredible deals on the pristine 10s. So I think it's one of the areas in the current climate, current market, where you can actually do pretty well. So it's something that I'll occasionally take a peek out. Now, I will never overpay for a pristine 10, and it doesn't matter if it's BGS, Black Label, or the SGC 10. I mean, they're nice to have, and it's cool when you get them, when you submit. And not to say I wouldn't pay a little bit more than a Gem Mint 10, but I would never go to an exorbitant price, but some people will. So I thought that was a good value pickup, something that I'm happy to add to the collection, and I certainly think it has potential to rise if I were to decide to trade it in towards something else in the collection. Next up, got a care package from Ethan Donnelly. Ethan's a member of the community. I know he took a break for school, but getting back into the hobby. So, Ethan, I appreciate you sending these cards my way. Adam Hazley autograph. Hazley was a really good TTM guy, an in-person guy in the minor leagues. He'll share some time in center field this year. Spencer Howard, first Bowman, Phillies #1 pitching prospect. He's got a shot to reach the big leagues this season. Connor Siebold, this is just an awesome looking card. That blue signature really pops. It's another Phillies prospect. We got Kyle Young, Phillies pitching prospect. I do have that one. Jojo Romero, first Bowman, definitely been making strides. in his quest to make the big leagues one day. Here's a Keston Hiura Topps Pro debut. A Tom Brady from 2015 Topps card I did not have in the collection. One of my favorite all-time Allen and Ginter cards is just a beautiful looking one. 2014 Steve Carlton. I have one of these that I got signed that looks amazing. A mirror image Aaron Nola. And then a Shohei Ohtani and Jordan Montgomery. Jordan Montgomery had a big first year for the Yankees, got hurt, missed the next year, and honestly at this point I'm not sure what his current status is, but hopefully he gets healthy and finds his way back to the big leagues. Open last. Now, I did already open this. For one, I messed up my first attempt at making this video, and number two, I actually opened this package from Ethan because I didn't really know what it was. I actually thought it might be a grading submission or something, but he got me with the Joe Carter, laughing at me. Joe Carter. Bob Lewis hit me up a couple weeks ago with this, something similar, but Joe Carter sitting there chuckling and laughing about the future back in 1990, about how in a few years he'd be winning the World Series with a walk-off home run in dramatic fashion for the Toronto Blue Jays. While Philadelphia Phillies fans were crying and sobbing and heartbroken, especially the 11-year-old. So, Ethan, hopefully you got a laugh out of that, but I appreciate it. Thank you for sending that stuff my way. Not necessary, but totally and completely appreciate it. Here's a vintage pickups. It's a Harmon Killebrew from 1964 Topps. I kind of picked this one up super cheap because it was free shipping with the other two cards I picked, and you can never go wrong with a Hall of Famer that looks somewhat fairly well centered. It ain't perfect. Corners aren't perfect, but that would be a cool pickup for the Hall of Fame PC. Main target was these two 1965 Richie Allens. Richie Allen had a brilliant career. He's got the chance, he's got the potential to possibly reach the Hall of Fame next year. This is his second year card with the Rookie Cup, but it's a little better looking than his rookie card, and you can say the same about a lot of the vintage players. These cards aren't perfect by any means. I mean, that corner is pretty jacked up. There's definitely coloration issues, color stains, but centering's pretty nice, so happy to pick these up. I'm not too worried about grading on a lot of the old school stuff. Right now, it's more about the appeal of the card overall. I don't expect perfection from vintage at all. If it's perfect, then you know what? It looks to me like something that you'd see out of a Topps Archives product. So, little wear and tear never bothers me. Mid or low grade, nice eye appeal. Always happy with that. All right, here are the two pre-war pickups, which are pretty amazing. And the second one is one that I strongly considered doing its own video, but I did not. This is an S74 Michael Doolin. Another addition to the Phillies collection, something I needed. Now, these silks are fairly common from what I've seen. They do not go for a ton. I picked this one up for $16, which is a little less than they're typically offered for. The seller had a really good rating and everything like that, so I'll send this into SGC for authentication and encapsulation. But definitely happy to pick that up. I've been looking at these for a while. This one looks pretty decent. I mean, a little creasing there in the middle, but overall, pretty cool, so happy to add that. And then this last one is a card I've been chasing for the last year or so. It's a 1913 Fatima Cigarettes T200. In an SGC 40, which is the equivalent of a very good 3. Now I was going to do a separate video for this, but honestly, Bowman 53 did a video on this card a few months ago or so. I'm going to post a link to his video down below, and I encourage you to check out both that video and his channel. I really can't outdo that video, so I figured I'd include it in this mail day. But this is a pretty amazing card, something that I think if you're a big-time Phillies collector, that it's certainly worth pursuing. First off, you have Grover Cleveland Alexander in here. It's a playing day card. I mean, his stuff is extremely expensive, borderline unaffordable, so, I mean, to be able to pick up a card with him is great. You have Sherry McGee, who's an all-time Philly. I mean, just a ton of really nice names. A lot of guys that I've been able to pick up for the collection. You know, I have different cards of a lot of these players, so it's pretty cool. You recognize names from the T205 and T206 sets. And, you know, a number of the other sets that were put out. So, very cool. Turkish Blend Cigarettes. Larger card, pretty sweet back with the special offer. So, really nice addition to the Phillies collection. Kind of a classic I needed to pick up. I will be sending this off, unfortunately, to SGC for reholdering. I mean, I prefer the new label from SGC. A lot of people dog on the new label, but I like it. I've gotten very used to it. It took a little while to get used to, but I think it fits perfect, and I don't really think there's any need for changes. But this holder is pretty scuffed up, and I could clean it up a little bit, but I just think I would prefer the fresh holder for this because it's got some scuffing on the back. It doesn't even show up necessarily on camera as much. I mean, you can certainly see it up here and kind of up against the black. That is one thing I'll say about SGC holders. The black tuxedo frame is really nice, but if there are major scuffs or scratches on these slabs, it kind of accentuates those as much as it can, you know, really help the card pop. But this is an awesome pickup. Super thrilled about it. It just looks really cool. You can kind of zoom in there and see, take a look at all the different players. But very, very happy to pick it up. And super happy to share it. So I'd love for you to comment down below. Let me know what you think of the sweet T200 pickup. Do you like the pre-war stuff? I mean, I think it's something that I encourage people to get involved in. Very fun to learn. Some people I know who are really into modern, who maybe grew up with the 90s or 2000s and they're into the modern stuff. Sometimes, and I felt it before too, you can feel somewhat intimidated by the vintage and pre-war stuff because it's just, you don't know a lot about it. You have to do some work to learn about it, but I think that's really fun, and it's really fun to do research on the players and the different sets as well. So I certainly recommend everyone checking it out, and I'd love to know your thoughts down below about the pre-war stuff, about the pickups, the Sapphire, the old school stuff, the more modernized vintage, even though these are 50, 60 years old as well. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a great one.